The economic news is bad, really bad. We'll get into that in a moment and where I think we're headed. But as we go into this thing, this economic downturn, is there a nicer way to put what we're about to go through? As we go into this economic downturn, you're going to see a lot of something. And I want to make sure you're aware of it, because as you see it, I want to make sure you know what you're seeing. There's an old saying. I actually don't know who came up with it first, but it's an old saying. It says, victory has 1,000 fathers, but defeat is an orphan. It's a great line. I've heard JFK use the line, although I don't think it's his line before. It's a great line, isn't it? And it is so true. It is so true. Whenever you see any kind of success anywhere, everyone will chime in and say, I was part of that, I did that. You'll see that when someone wins a political campaign, the presidency or something like that. People will for years run on, well, I was the assistant deputy campaign manager in Sheboygan, so I was a big part of it. Victory has 1,000 fathers, defeat is an orphan. When someone loses, when something bad happens, no one owns it. Nobody. Who did this? That's weird. Or they'll point fingers at everyone else. Hey, they did this. And this is going to be something you're going to see a lot of from the right, not from the communists, from the right. All right, look, you know all the news. You know all the news about Moody downgrading essentially our entire banking industry. You know about the bailouts. That's what they are. Don't let them lie to you. They're bailouts. They are. You know about, well, we now have another one. Looks like it's collapsing. We're not going to go into the details of that right now. And we know about inflation, interest rates. We see the learning loss in children. We see horrible things happening in the medical community. They can't fill hospitals with enough nurses. People are getting bad medical care. We see all this disaster out there right now. And here's what's really popular on the right, and maybe you've done this yourself. What's really popular on the right is that it's Joe Biden did it. Look at what the Democrats did. Well, you know what today is? Today is the 3-year anniversary of the moment that brought all this stuff in to where we are now.
We're announcing new guidelines for every American to follow over the next 15 days as we combat the virus. Each and every one of us has a critical role to play in stopping the spread and transmission of the virus. We did this today. This was done by a lot of very talented people, some of whom are standing with me.
I don't care if that hurts. We're going to own things here on the right. We're going to be honest about why we're going through pain, why we're about to go through. Look, let's just go over it. Moody is calling it a recession. Most smart people are predicting a recession. I think it'll be worse than that, actually. And even though a depression can't be defined, I think what we're about to go through is going to be more severe than 2008. I say significantly more severe. I think it is going to hurt, and it is going to hurt for some length of time. And we are going through all of this, everything you see right now, including the election of Joe Biden. Everything you see right now is the result of the insane idea that you should look at your economy and say, stop, when you get a virus. It is the dumbest concept I have ever seen take hold around the world, including the land of the free, right here in America. Hey, let's just decide how much we can dictate to people. Who can go to work, who can't go to work, who gets to keep their business, who has to lose their business. After all, someone has the sniffles. I've never seen an idea so insane take hold on the left and the right. And this is what's going to drive me nuts. People on the right who participated in it will now point fingers as we just fly this plane right into the side of the economic mountain. Everyone on the right, especially every elected Republican, every Republican running for office, oh, look at the Democrats. Oh, Democrats and inflation. Oh, Democrats did this. Democrats did that. Multiple $1 trillion bills passed by Republicans. printing $6-7 trillion before Joe Biden ever walked into the White House. I will not stand by and allow it to happen. I will demand ownership and accountability for the people who did this to us, Democrat and Republican. Did Democrats do it? You bet. Were they worse? Of course they are. They're communists. They're always worse. Republicans paved this road right next to Democrats, top to bottom. All of them did it. That's not fair. Almost all of them did it. About 99% of the Republicans in this country did it. And now, you want to know how doomed we are? Janet Yellen says we're fine. Now you know we're doomed.
I can reassure the members of the committee that our banking system is sound and that Americans can feel confident that their deposits will be there when they need them.
Yeah, I'm not confident. I'm not telling you to go down to your bank and pull your money out. I'm not saying that. You make your own financial decision. That's probably a dumb one to make, so don't do that. But I'm not, come on now. I see what's happening. It's already starting to snowball. And then we have, which banks are going to get bailed out, which ones aren't. Well, Silicon Valley Bank, $73 million. Why would you give $73 million to a Marxist front group called Black Lives Matter? Well, you give them that money because you know what you're buying is membership into the system. And it took them about half a day. No one's going to bail them out. No one's going to bail them out. We're not bailing them out. And then, bing, they get bailed out. Of course they do. They paid their membership into the system. And now something even worse is coming. And this is really why I'm predicting a depression. The banks, because they're starting to freak out and close, and we're seeing things like this, the banks are now pushing for no more interest rate hikes. Hey, don't raise rates. Hey, we're all going to close. Don't raise rates. And it's not like I want interest rates to go up. But remember, there's not a third direction. You either have massive inflation, which can end the nation. It's that big of a deal. Or you raised interest rates to get that inflation under control. I wish there was a third direction. There's not. So now we get a couple bank closures. The banks freak out. They start chirping at the Fed, close, stop it. And now there's rumors out there now. They're going to lower rates or not raise them at all. Everyone knows you should raise them at this point in time. Whew. We got some rough times coming. But hey, I don't want you to stress out about that because remember, Republicans are having hearings.
Then why doesn't the president care?
He cares very deeply.
Then where is his plan?
He stands ready to work with
That's
Congress
a lie,
to address.
because when a bipartisan group of senators has repeatedly requested to meet with him about social, so that somebody who is a current beneficiary will not see her benefits cut by 24%, we have not heard anything on our request.
That'll get them. But that's what Republicans want you to see. That's what Republicans want you to remember. Do you know what I remember? Everyone's forgotten about this by now. You probably have already forgotten about it. I know I'm weird, but you know what I remember? I can't get it out of my head. It just eats at me to this day. The $1.7 trillion omnibus bill. The $1.7 trillion omnibus bill, and here's why it irks me. I want to make sure everyone remembers what the circumstance was. We had just elected a GOP House, so the Democrats were going to lose the House. They had to pass some kind of a funding bill. They could have passed a little mini one so the new Congress, when it got sworn in, could decide on what the major budget items were going to be. But because they were worried the new GOP House might hold back on some of the outright insanity in that bill, they packaged $1.7 trillion of every left-wing handout you could possibly find, and they slammed it through a lame duck Senate. And they not only did it with Republican support, Mitch McConnell went on television and bragged about it.
So, admittedly, I'm pretty proud of the fact that with a Democratic president, a Democratic House, and a Democratic Senate, we were able to achieve, through this omnibus spending bill, essentially all of our priorities.
They they spit in your face, and then they stand up in front of the camera and they lie to you about it. And they hope you forget. You know how many of these senators get mad that I keep bringing it up? Sorry, senators, I'm going to keep bringing it up forever. Screw every single one of you. How disrespectful you are of us, of the citizens of this nation. That was so disrespectful. And so, to wrap all this up, do remember that as the pain train comes, do remember that it was a bipartisan pain train. I know we love to say it's all Joe, it's all Democrats. 3 years ago, it wasn't Democrats running the show. All that may have made you uncomfortable, but I am right.